Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So today I went and I picked up a meat bandsaw. It seems to be definitely a vintage bandsaw. Looks pretty cool, Butcher Boy. It's definitely going to need a little bit of work to get it cleaned up and running again. But I pulled it in here. I'm going to try to plug it into the welding plug-in. We're going to run it real quick, just make sure that it actually does operate. Okay, see what happens. Definitely has a weird smell. I don't think it's ran in a long time. So I ended up picking this up this morning, and I also got a meat tenderizer that I believe matches. I believe it's also Butcher Boy. So let me grab it real quick and we'll check it as well. Actually, I got a generator in the truck. Hold on.
It says it's a Leland.
Yeah, it's a different brand than Butcher Boy, but it's the same color pattern. Almost looks like it matches. It's got that white kind of 1950s look to it. That one's locked up. You can tell they're a little rough on the inside. Definitely seems to be binding. Let's see if I can get that out of there. Hey, look at that. Started working. Get the other blade in here. Man, that is stiff. It's running. I don't know if you'll see it or not. Definitely need cleaned up and gone through. Probably, I don't think it's been used. I think he told me maybe 20 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. So maybe at least 10 years or more. So I think this finishes out the equipment that we were looking to get for our food processing, meat processing room here in the pole barn. So we already had an industrial Hobart meat slicer. We had a meat grinder. We have a dehydrator. And now we've got a tenderizer and a bandsaw. So I think that takes up most of everything we needed for our room. So definitely needs to be gone through and restored. But I think we finally have all the pieces of equipment for our food processing room. Excuse me. Get choked up. Crooked. There we go. So the guy I got this off of contacted me, asked me if I was interested, and he basically told me to load this up today, look it over, and pay him what I thought it was worth. So pretty cool old meat saw. It does need a lot of going through. It probably have to be all repainted, all the rust taken off. So what do you guys think? What do you think is a fair price for this bandsaw and tenderizer? Put it in the comments down below. Appreciate it. Well, Rebecca's not going to wear sandals today. At least right now.
Yeah.
What are we doing today?
Harvesting.
Harvesting the garden and the orchard? Both?
If we have time, yeah.
Okay, let's get to it. So the garden is a jungle of weeds, but there is a ton of produce in here. I'm going to show you this side over here, full of pumpkins and squash. Everything's starting to die back, so these will be harvested here pretty soon, but probably not today. As we look through here, them are some blue Hubbard squash. That's my hand. It's huge. Thing's about 2 feet long. And then as you come over here, you can just see, we've got pumpkins, blue Hubbard squash. There's a bunch more pumpkins over here. We got watermelon in here. There's some couple more pumpkins right there. Watermelon, 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 watermelon. We also got some of these like small sugar pumpkins as well. So overall, I think we got about 10 blue Hubbard squash. We've probably got at least 10 big pumpkins, and then another probably close to 10 sugar pumpkins as well, and then about 5 watermelons. So this here is what we're harvesting today, tomatoes. And we've got about 20 tomato plants, maybe more. So we're gonna focus on the tomatoes today, and then we've got onions, and then we'll probably go to the orchard and we'll get the apples today as well. All right, that is the first tomato plant, 20 more to go. This plant right here is just kind of mostly just spilled out onto the fabric. It's got tomatoes everywhere. So we did count, and this is a total of 20 tomato plants. We just tried to pick the good ones. We kind of left a bunch of rotten ones. There's
Green ones and some that are just starting to turn, so.
yeah, there's still a lot of tomatoes out here, but these are pretty much the best ones right there. So we set up a little assembly line here so that we can wash these tomatoes. And then we're planning on actually freezing them. We're not going to process them today. There's a lot of time in processing tomatoes. So if you freeze them, we can wait for a better time to do it. Maybe here in a few weeks or a month, we can finally come back and process these tomatoes. And if you have a small garden, you can just keep freezing your tomatoes throughout the year and then wait and do them all at once if you freeze them like we're going to. Sure, some pretty tomatoes in here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll just give these a final rinse and then we'll let them dry in the sun. And while we're letting these dry, we're gonna clean the wheelbarrow out and we're gonna head out to the orchard. We're gonna try to gather up as many apples as we can. Rebecca was wanting to make some apple pie filling to see if we can get that canned. I think we only had 1 jar left. Well, after coming out to the orchard, I don't know if we're gonna pick too many. Rebecca, I think she just about got stung because we got like hornets or yellow jackets eating the bad apples. We've had this before in the past, but I'll give you a look. See if I can show you how big that guy is. Hopefully you guys, hopefully I got it focused in there, but there's not just one, okay? I mean, there's several on each tree. So what Rebecca just did is she went to pick one and she couldn't see that the backside was just like that, rotten. And when she went to pick it, there was one inside of it. So we may end up, and these aren't the same ones we had a couple years ago. These are a different kind of hornet. Yeah, we may not pick too many apples today. We'll see what we can get. How do you propose we pick these apples?
I think you take the tractor and you just nudge the tree and shake them out.
Try to drop all the apples?
Yeah.
How do you know there's still not hornets in them when they're on the ground?
Well, hopefully they'll fly away.
Probably not. Kind of ugly apples.
They're organic.
They are organic. Not any chemicals used on these. Organic and ugly apples.
It's the biggest apple we've ever
had. Very ugly looking apple. It's got a bad spot right there, but things huge, just softball size.
Yeah.
It's a pink lady apple. Our first apple off of that tree since 2016. It took forever to make apples.
It's the only apple it's ever produced.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Maya. She knows we're picking apples. I've been feeding her apples. You want some apples?
They're not the greatest apples in the world, Maya.
She wants some.
Okay, hold still. Hold on. There you go. Got some flies on you, sweetheart. There you go. Yes, you like the apples. Oh, I dropped it. There you go. All right, one more bite. It's right here. There you go.
Hey, that one looks good. Whoa. That
Yep.
was a bunch. You ready, aren't you? Should give me an apple. I don't have any. Evan's got them.
There you go. Watch it, you're gonna get my knife. Mm-hmm. Good girl. Well, it looks like that's probably all the apples we're gonna be getting from the orchard. So we went ahead and harvested the onions from the garden. I think we've got somewhere around 40. So we'll let these dry for a few days and then we'll peel off that dirty layer of skin and you'll end up with a nice clean onion, and then we'll store those in the basement and they'll keep, you know, until springtime. So I went ahead and picked up a bunch of the tomatoes that were going soft, that were going bad, and we're gonna feed these to the pigs and chickens. Here, chickens, come here. Oh, I meant to give some of that to the pigs. Well, we're starting to draw a crowd. About half our chickens are out here. You guys may have noticed that I moved this propane tank over here on the concrete. I've got it all set up so these guys can test it and pressure test it, leak check it, recertify it so that I can get it filled back up. And I have had them scheduled twice now on a Friday, and they have stood me up both times, and they never showed up. So starting to get a little frustrated with the whole process. Hopefully they will come soon and find out whether I need to do anything to this tank to get it certified. If there's anything that needs to be replaced, I'd like to get that answered, and I'd like to get it filled up. Filling up one of these propane tanks is usually cheaper in the summertime, not in the wintertime. So I'd rather fill it up now, because more than likely the prices are lower now than they will be in January. But that's where we are on this tank, basically nowhere. So still waiting to figure out what we're gonna do with this thing. So Rebecca's been inside starting to process those apples. So let's go in and see how she's doing. Well, since the pigs didn't get any tomatoes, it looks like they're gonna get plenty of apple peels when we're done. So she's got all the apples cut up into wedges, and then they're coated in lemon juice and water. Try to keep them from browning. Hey, pigs! Well, I brought all of the apple peels out here to the pigs. That way they didn't get left out. Here they are. Hi, boys. How you doing? Come on. Look what I got. Oh, you fell in the hole. Come on. Well, yeah, you guys like them apples, don't you? Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, it's starting to rain, or sprinkle actually. We need it pretty bad. Everything is getting crunchy around here. Like all of the grass and everything is starting to crunch under your feet. We haven't had a good rain in a long time, and we really need some pretty bad. The pastures are looking pretty horrible right now. I've really considered irrigating the pastures from the pond, just like I did the garden, or even the small well house down here. And that'd be another good test for that old well. But I've really considered doing that just to try to get some regrowth back on the pastures. It has been very dry, and hopefully things are starting to cool down now. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more rain. And just one example, these pigs behind me, they usually clean up an area by rooting. When it gets this dry, they don't root hardly at all. So as we walk down here and we look, this is the area the pigs have been in. And as we walk down here, you'll see that it still looks almost completely overgrown. It's hardly cleared out at all because the ground is so dry the pigs can't root and dig with their noses. And this is what the pig pen looks like. 4 pigs in there, and it's still completely full of weeds and everything. And that's a testament of how dry the ground is and how hard the ground is. And this pig pen here, if it would get a bunch of rain, if we would have had a bunch of rain, this would have probably been almost completely wiped out. But that just hasn't been the case. So the next thing I need to do is start up the pellet grill. We're gonna cook a brisket tonight. Now it's not gonna be done tonight. It's gotta cook like 16 to 18 hours, somewhere in there. But we're going to cook it in the pellet grill till bedtime, and then we're gonna transfer it into our oven and finish it off overnight. It should be finished sometime, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and that'll end up being lunch tomorrow. There we go, brisket, homegrown right here from last year's steers. Well, Rebecca noticed the jar was floating, and the reason why is it broke. So look at this. See, the bottom broke out of the jar. Now we got to get all of these apples out of here. Rebecca decided she's going to take all the apples and put them in the leftover syrup, and she's going to feed it to the pigs.
Yep, don't want to waste it.
So there will be some broken glass in the bottom, but the apples are floating, so they shouldn't have any broken glass in them. And when we're done, we'll have to try to get all of that glass out of there. So it's been 20 minutes in a water bath, and we're going to take our jars out. There's our apple pie filling. So these all have to be wiped off because that one jar busted in there, so all that sticky syrup is mixed up inside, and that's going to coat those jars. So we'll have to kind of wipe these down and clean them. But doesn't that look beautiful? I think Rebecca did a good job. So I think we moved back to the homesteading side of things in today's video, kind of got back to our roots. That's how it all started when we came out here. And as we've grown more and more food for ourselves, we started growing it for other people. And this has turned slowly more into a farm than a homestead. And now we raise way more food for other people than we really do ourselves. And that's the direction we're going. You know, we're trying to get more and more pastures so we can raise even more animals. But it was nice to get back to the homesteading side. Rebecca didn't want to let any of that food go to waste in the garden. She wanted to get it preserved and put away so that we can enjoy it over the next year. And yeah, it was nice to get back to that side. All those tomatoes we froze, we'll turn that all into tomato sauce. And the apple pie filling is something that we do use. Remember, Rebecca is a baker. She loves to bake. She bakes bread, she bakes pies and different desserts. The apple pie filling will get used for sure. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. We do have a brisket up in the pellet grill, and that's going to cook all night long. And it'll be done sometime in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And then we'll let it rest. And I think we're going to cut that up, and that'll be our lunch tomorrow. It'll probably be our lunch for several days. But I'll end up showing that in the next video. I'll show the end result of the brisket that we got on the grill. But I think that's going to be it for this video. It is just beautiful weather we're starting to have now. We're starting to get to where we're always in the 70s for a high. And it's starting to, you start feeling fall coming, right? And it's a good time to be outside. I think we've kind of cleaned out the fire pit the other day. We're probably going to start having a fire pit every few evenings and sit out here and enjoy a campfire, cook over the campfire. So I am looking forward to this cooler weather. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.